haven't actually fully documented this whole process because I identified there were other areas in my life where I was optimizing to my kids. You probably feel this too.
Mm.
And I don't think anybody should feel bad. There's consequences. There always is, right? Like this, I look at like entrepreneurs like Alex Ramosi, and he optimizes to the business, to the game, right? And so sometimes it's like fun to watch. It's like watching an athlete, like, it's like they've abandoned now he's got a unique situation where his spouse, they're in it together, but like no kids, no pets, no property, real estate. They're just like they got singular focus. They're optimizing their lives for how can I play this game as hard as possible. Like respect, go and do it. I am not that kind of person. Like I am very much so optimized to like being present for my wife and being present for my kids. And so when you're optimizing to be a parent, are there going to be areas that are weaker? And this is one of those things. It's like, oh my gosh, I brought in leaders. Then there was probably a piece of it where I was a little bit slower. I was a little bit slower to act because I was like, I need to give people space to grow. So, like, there were clear feedback loops of like, "This is not going great." And I was like, give space, trust, and I'm like, also, if I remember the metaphor, like great coaches. Do you play football or anything like that? Like soccer?
I would like to, just don't have time for it.
Okay. Okay. No, no time here. Well, still, any sport. Imagine if the coach, if like the athlete's having a hard time and the coach is like just give me the ball. I'm gonna play it. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's a weird coach. Like that's not a
That's
coach. Like that's you
that's
know what I mean?
terrible.
Like, it
Yeah.
seems so absurd. But we do that in our businesses all the time. That's the temptation, right? You're like your teammates, you're like, you're supposed to ultimately, if you're gonna move into like an owner, you want to be a coach and develop the team that grows the business. And so I was trying to do that, trying to really just be a coach and give the feedback loop. But if you look at great teams, what do? If they've got a weak player, like you coach them to a point, and you cut them for the
Mhm.
sake of the team. Like you just need to be able to cut them. And there were lots of areas I realized that I did not have a high standard for myself. I had a high standard for parenthood. I had a high standard for the kind of husband I was going to be, but I kind of almost decided there were certain areas that I just like couldn't be elite. And so one for me was like fitness. My entire life, I mean, when I was growing up, I was like the chubbier kid. And if you see me in person, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but you're like, I was not like a huge person, but I was not like, no one would say there's someone who's like elite in their fitness or whatever. I just never prioritized it. It just like wasn't a thing.